Lella speaking, and with me is Kitty-chan.
Hello.
And also Garnet.
Hello.
Hi. So today, what's the date today? Is it the 11th?
It's the
11th of December,
Yes.
2016, and we are in Takarazuka today to see Sekkasho and Konjiki no Sabaku.
Yep.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes. You did.
Okay. Fantastic. Today is the fourth time that I'll be watching this show for Kitty-chan.
It's just my second time.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the 6th time or 7th if you include the Shinko. Oops.
So basically, this is a really, really, really good show.
Yes.
And we're very excited to be watching it again today. So we're sitting in a little cafe here in Takarazuka recording this.
Because it's warm.
Yes.
It's really, really cold outside right now.
Yes, I mean, I got up at 3:30 this morning, and Kitty-chan and I, it was before the buses started running in Kyoto, so we had to walk 45 minutes to get to the train station where we take the train.
Wow.
But amazingly enough, Kitty-chan was walking faster than me this morning. So we made the walk in 35 minutes instead of 45. So, yes.
Yeah, and I joined you guys a little bit later, but I did something very similar. I got my bike at like 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, and then got to the train station. So yeah, really cold.
Yeah.
So cold.
Yeah. And if you guys are wondering why we would get up at that crazy, insane hour to go see a Zuka show, it's because tojitsuken or same-day tickets, if you want to get them, you have to be there physically because you personally have to purchase your ticket. Like, your friends cannot purchase them for you. It's one ticket per person. And so you have to go, and on a day like today, if it's really cold, you just have to brave the cold and bring a blanket.
Also, since the performance is it's approaching the end, I think it's Senshuraku on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of people that still want to see the show. So a lot of people queuing. And already, but by 7 or 8 a.m. there's already a lot of people. So the earlier you get there, the better chances you have to get a ticket.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Okay, so the first show, so in this performance, the review comes first, and then after the review is the actual play, the performance play. And the review is called Sekkasho. And in my opinion, this is the best review that Hanagumi has made under Mirio's top star rule or reign, top star reign. And I think the reason why I like it so much is because it is a mix of traditional and modern. So I really, really like the aesthetic of the traditional Japanese geisha style, or just any traditional Japanese style. It's visually pleasing, but I am having trouble focusing on and enjoying shamisen music. And while Sekkasho does have a lot of traditional flavor to its music, it also feels very modern. So it's a joy to listen to and just
as well as to see.
Yeah,
no, I completely agree with you. Okay, as far as best review, I think Fantasia gives a fair fight. but it's something that you rarely see in Takarazuka, Nihon Mono review or show. It's something similar to what Takarazuka Odori did a couple of years ago in Tsukigumi. But then again, it's completely different because the music, the style of the music is modern. It's not traditional Japanese music. It's a real nice combination of Japanese aesthetics and modern music. And I think that really is to be appreciated.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and also the music, even though it is modern, it has a traditional tone to it. So it does flow very well. It's not discordant or anything. It doesn't look like it's not all going together.
Yeah. So I really liked it because the last 2 reviews I had seen live were Romance and Greatest Hits, which were both awesome. But the thing with those is they had very large set pieces all over the stage the whole time. And one of the more unique things I think about Sekkasho is there are many scenes where there's nothing on the stage except all the people dancing, and it really feels a lot different from other reviews, and the amount of space being used is a lot larger, and they're able to do more things with the sets, and I just really liked it. I'm usually not someone who goes for the reviews, but like the first time I went, we weren't even close to the play yet. We were like in the 3rd number of the review, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm buying this DVD, I guess.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean, because like I'm not that much of a review person myself, in the sense that like if I watch a review, there's always gonna be a scene that I like a lot and then one that I don't really care much for. But this is absolutely not the case. I couldn't find a scene I don't like in this review if I tried.
I think it's especially nice to have a show like this for Kano-chan's Taidan. It's her sayonara show.
Yeah,
and her voice, it was made for this type of review. It was made for this type of music. So when Kano-chan sings in this show, I had this aha moment when I was like, oh, that is how amazing she is, and it really, like, she really shines in this show, and so I appreciated that a lot. That
she hasn't had a lot of original stuff that was made to emphasize her.
Yeah, I guess that's the curse when you're a Musumiya, because you don't get exactly all the focus on yourself. But at the same time, I really do believe, Kano-chan is not exactly known to be the best singer out there, but this kind of sound fits her voice so extremely well. And we were talking, like, of course it's modern music, but it has a Japanese touch as well, and that Japanese touch is what fits Kano-chan and Kano-chan's voice so incredibly well. So yeah, I was so pleasantly surprised, and I'm so happy that she gets to shine so much on her Taidan.
Yeah, like just all the kando, like all the feels for Kano-chan.
She deserves it.
Yeah. What were you saying about this being Midiogumi's masterpiece?
Yeah, I do believe. Well, of course, not just Sekkasho, but also Konjiki no Sabaku as well. But I really think that this performance, this show overall, is so absolutely well balanced and so focused and so made for these very people, these very Hanagumi, that it as I said, it fits every single performer so very well. It feels like every single role was made exactly for these people. So that so very seldom happens in Takarazuka, in general. And yeah, I do believe that this is like the best show that this Midio's Hanagumi has had. Yeah, that may be just my opinion. They did some good stuff, but this might just be the climax of what they have done so far.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I was thinking to myself last night, oh God, it's going to be the last time I'm able to see it tomorrow, and I hope that they do Sekkasho again because I love it so much. But then I'm thinking, but Kano-chan, she won't be there. So I'm kind of, I want it to happen again, but at the same time it wouldn't be the same. So I'm a little bit like,
This is the kind of thing with like this kind of original plays that they're so tailored on these very performers that imagining them done by anyone else would just feel weird, to say the least. So I'm not sure. I would love some more Sekkasho. I would sure love some more, but at the same time, I think that
maybe hope Harada starts doing more reviews.
Yeah,
because he mainly does. I believe he mainly does plays. He hasn't done a lot of reviews recently.
He hasn't.
As far as I can recall.
That's good. All right, so let's talk about some of our favorite scenes from Sekkasho. And I'll start off by mentioning the opening scene, which comes at the very beginning, so that's a good place to start. But what happens is, it's a bit of a surprise actually in the opening, because you hear this one solitary voice starting it off. Is it Musumeyaku who sings that bit?
It's a Musumeyaku. I don't know who that is though.
Yeah, but I was, and then they all say a phrase together that I can't remember what it is, and then you hear just the tapping noise of that. It's a woodblock instrument, but what is it?
Yeah, I have no idea what that's called.
Yeah, like just the one chung, and then the entire stage lights up, and they're all standing there. They're all standing there already, you know. The first time you yourself are so startled by it, like, oh, there they are.
Yeah, what I love about this, sorry for interrupting, but what I love about this scene is that even though like I've seen it many times, and I'm pretty sure like most people in the audience have seen it many times, there's still always someone who's seen it for the first time, and every single time the stage lights up for the first time, you can hear that of the audience, and that is beautiful.
Yeah, that was just the thing I was going to mention, so thank you.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No. I love that about the opening, that it kind of grabs you. It's great. And the music is also... It's so good. It's so good. So there's not a single moment in this show that you are bored. You're just... There's something new that pulls you in every single second. So I really love that about this show. Sorry. Hey, Kitty-chan, I think your scenes are next. Hey.
Yeah, so my favorite scenes was the Otokoyaku number, where they're all falcons or eagles. I've only seen it once, so I will be in slightly less detail than everyone, so please bear with me. But I really love that scene because of the, well, one thing, because of the set is I really like the different ways Takarazuka handles their stage space, and that one was really cool. And also just the costumes, because everybody looked really good. Yeah. And it reminded me of if anyone is familiar with it, it reminded me of certain parts of Kami-sama Hajimemashita, which probably will not make sense to anyone who doesn't know Kami-sama Hajimemashita, but to those who know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but it was really good, and it had some of my favorite people in it. Anentoma was in that scene, and Yuzukade was in that. I think Seto Kazuya was in that scene.
I think she is.
Yeah, because the show was Yuzukade and Seto Kazuya resemble each other a lot, so I always am like, which one is that? But there was both of them, so that's why I was confused.
I mean, I think the Japanese makeup, like the traditional Japanese makeup, makes it a little difficult to tell them apart from afar.
But they already, I mixed them up other places too. But yeah, and like the music in that scene, like, I really like enka music, especially like when they do enka rock fusion, which doesn't happen often, but when they do, it's really good. And like that came really close to some of my favorite styles. Like the only thing that could have started making things better is if they'd done like amagigoe, but that's not really very pure and proper lyrics, so I'm not. But it was really good scene. The other one that really had a big effect on me was the Tanabata sequence, which, unlike the bird sequence, had a completely clear stage, and they had smoke machines running from like both sides, I think, and they had the stage rotating, so it made really amazing patterns, especially if you're sitting on the top floor. And so it was Kiki as the guy. Hikoboshi, yes, thank you. And Bei-chan as Orihime. And was it Bei-chan?
I think it's actually Yuki, Senna Ayase.
Oh, it was Yuki. Okay, yes. I get the stage names mixed up, but yeah, so they are really good. And I have a lot of feels associated with Tanabata because of Kamen Rider Deno. And I can explain this in detail in the post. I'll explain, but it's just the whole romance thing and the constellations and this very. I was crying.
Aww.
Don't judge me.
It's all very sweet. Yeah.
It's so pretty, and despite it being a Nihon Mono review, they weren't actually wearing Japanese costumes. I think those were like Chinese costumes because it's Chinese originating folktale. I don't think it was.
I'm not really much informed on the Tanabata legend, but like those are some like traditional clothing that like usually Hikoboshi and Orihime always like wear something on those lines.
I feel like
really...
when I researched, it is a bit more Chinese inspired, but I could be wrong because I only know things from Kamen Rider. But it was amazing. Okay, yes, carry on.
All right. So the next thing I wanted to mention is Hozuki An, and who sings with her?
Beitan, Osaki Ayaka.
Oh, okay, because they have this lovely little duet that's it's all about the stars, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about like the Hoshiai, like the Tanabata and the two lovers meeting in the Milky Way once a year. It's so sweet.
Oh, it's absolutely adorable. It's just like showing off all of the good voices of Hanagumi. Just lovely.
Hey, let's talk about that. Like, there are some like pretty nice voices around there, and they're all showcased so adequately. So like every number that they got fits their voice quality so well. So that's another thing I was really impressed with.
Yeah. Who sings the bit that's just before the finale? What's that?
Okay. Before the finale, there's a Akage duet. So like just the two singing voices that like open the scene, and it's I think it's from the 100th class, and they are Saki no Mion and Mano Kazuma, and they are really good. Like they're so young and yet they have some pretty sound voices. So yeah.
And then was it Kazumi's show?
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed her performance. I don't know her name, but I was like focusing on her, going like, okay, I need to recognize your face so I can look you up later on in the program. Like I need to memorize. Yes. So she's gorgeous, and she has a gorgeous voice. And yes, look out for that if you go see Sekkasho in Tokyo. It's excellent. I also want to talk a bit about the Chuzume, so the kind of like the middle number.
The middle sequence that like cuts the like half of the show, kind of. Yeah.
And it is a number that's intended to get your blood pumping a little bit. I think.
Get you going. People are clapping.
Okay.
Yeah, usually.
So in this Chuzume, there's a lot of clapping, definitely. Although when I went on Thursday, the section I was sitting in, people weren't really clapping that much. I was a bit sad because I was like, sitting there being a gaijin, but I was like clapping along to the people like in the other sections. So I think some of the Japanese people sitting next to me felt a little bit guilty that the gaijin was like more into it. So like, after a while, some people around me started clapping too. It's like,
good inputs.
But I really enjoy the Chuzume. I think it's got like a great beat to it, like it's got a great tone. It has a backdrop of an ocean. I don't know what the famous painter is called, but like there's a very...
It's Hokusai. It's a great wave on lake.
No, it's this...
On
the
Kanagawa.
Great Lake off of...
Something.
Something. Yeah.
Like oh god, I swear I could remember it.
Yeah, it was in a class too. Okay.
But it's that kind of backdrop, so it feels like really artistically Japanese. And then they're all coming out, and I think everyone is in that number. Yes.
Yeah, almost everyone.
Yeah. But they're not all on at the same time. They do their own bits, and I think it all fits in really well. And then they have these like sparkly batons, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And they do like this whole thing with the batons, and it's really cool. So, and you're just like clapping along, and it's great.
It was all very Matsuri.
Yeah,
really liked that.
Yeah, it's such a good time. Seriously,
honestly, it was probably better than the Romance Tuesday. I don't remember the Greatest Hits Tuesday very well.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah,
but I've only seen that once. So I don't know.
So there is also a scene that's more autumny.
Yes. I really like that scene a lot. Yes. It's supposed to like be like we didn't talk about the flow of the show, but like basically the main theme of the show is like the repeating of the seasons. It starts in spring, then goes off to summer, then autumn, then winter, and then again spring, closing in spring, and this like beautiful reprise of the theme song of the show, and it's beautiful. The autumn scene is one of my favorites because it's a reenactment of the legend of Kiyohime, I believe, and it's basically the story of a woman who was abandoned by her lover, and she tries to chase him, but his constant refusal, like makes it so that she's angered and she turns into a sort of like serpent demon or something like that, or either a serpent or a dragon. And of course the two lovers are Mirio and Kano-chan, and it's so very beautiful because they reenact the whole legend, and then as soon as Kano-chan gets refused by Anchin, that's the name of the lover, there is this one very, very beautiful scene in which she's supposed to be diving in a river, and there is this veil that basically washes over the entire stage, and she disappears under this veil for a second, and she has the fastest costume change I've ever seen. Like, she basically changes her whole kimono, her wig, and the result is so beautiful because it really feels like there's a wave washing over her, and then there's I believe and then later there's like people waving red flags as like flames of love, or they're supposed to symbolize or something like that,
like actual fire.
And that's an actual fire. That's right. The legend says something.
Like
I can't remember the exact legend, but
he's in. What is it? He goes to the temple because one of the things is that he's
a monk.
He's a priest, so he's supposed to be chaste, but he kind of leads her on. But so when she flips out, he goes to the temple and is hiding under the bell. So she
sets a fire
she
to
burns the temple.
Alright. And the whole scene is generally so very aesthetically pleasing, and the music is beautiful as well.
Yes.
And that is really noteworthy. And then what else? I already said a bit about the finale, but that is probably my favorite scene of all, because it really it's a reprise of the theme of spring and spring coming back after a long winter and all that, but the music is so very beautiful. It's a beautiful crescendo of voices all adding up together, and the instruments getting louder, and the drums and all that, and the effect is so very moving. I think I did tear up a couple times while watching that scene.
The harmonies are so beautiful.
They are. So it's emotionally overwhelming for me.
I think that we should probably also mention the awesomeness that is Matsumoto Yuri sensei.
Oh my god, yes.
So there is this number that is really amazing, and it's
during the winter season.
It's right after the opening.
It's very
number.
early on, and it is very traditional Japanese style. It's a lone voice singing, and Matsumoto sensei is doing this Maiko geisha style dance.
Something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not really informed on that, but yeah.
It is so perfectly I have no words.
It's so masterful.
And just that kind of dancing, the posture required for it is so strenuous. It's just amazing that has such a low career, she's doing that twice a day. It's really, really incredible.
Also, we should mention Matsumoto sensei is of course a Senka member joining Hanagumi for this particular show, and she's called Matsumoto Yuri sensei because she's a master of the Japanese style dance, and it really shows. Oh my god, she's something to behold.
I think that's one of the bits that made me cry.
Because it's so intense. It's so very simple. It's just her on stage with a simple background and the voice singing.
Who was singing?
It's Otokurisu.
Oh, because they're really good.
It's a very, very effective scene. I think.
Yeah. And it is another one where they had absolutely nothing on the stage.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So simple.
Even
and yet-
so, like, even though it's such a big space, and she wasn't even moving around the stage that much. We just like,
Right.
had to look at her.
It's very good. Very good. Yes. All right, let's move on to Konjiki no Sabaku.
Okay, so first off, about Konjiki no Sabaku, this is Ueda Kumiko's second Grand Theater show, which is really awesome because she's probably one of the best and more innovative script writers Takarazuka has right now. Is just slightly unfortunate that her main genre is, oh, did you need those feels? Did you smash them now?
That's a pretty accurate name
Yes,
for what she writes.
Yes, so know what you are getting in for.
Because let's remind everyone, her previous work for Takarazuka, which was her Grand Theater debut, was Hoshiai Hitoyo for
Yes.
Yukigumi. And if you've seen it, you know what we're doing, what we're talking about.
AKA, make sure you have plenty of water, because otherwise you will die of dehydration.
And tissues, of course.
Yes.
I need those.
Yes. But yeah, she just really knows what she's doing with just, well, directing for one thing. Both Hoshiai and Konjiki no Sabaku have very good sets and moving everyone around. And she also really likes shifting time frames within the same show,
Yeah.
which is really nice because it gives the actresses a bit of a challenge, I think.
Yeah.
And she writes really good songs, and it's just in general she's really good. I've not seen any of the Bauhauls she wrote.
Has she had any
She
Bauhaus?
did a Tama-chan and Miyu Bauhaul that was
Tsukigumo
no Miko,
Tsukigumo no
which
Miko.
I've also heard was very, very out.
I've seen that. I didn't know it was
that-
by her,
was
but
it-
okay,
was
that
it that
explains
out?
it. Yeah, it was really good. It kind of has her touch because, like, she's an extremely skilled writer. Like, she knows how to build and develop a character. And that's not something you can say for all writers in Takarazuka because, like, you know, it's easy to get something like some sloppy character development here and there, but not in Ueda Kumiko's works. She never does things halfway. She goes all the way, and yeah, her characters are something I really appreciate.
Yeah, I agree with that because all of the characters in this show are very well built. Like, my favorite character is actually a quite minor character, but she just, like, the character is created so skillfully that I become really attached to her. And then, you know, I'm crushed.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's really, really good.
Like, unlike Hoshiai, which mostly was the top three, the Konjiki has actually a lot of characters.
Yeah,
and they're all fairly distinct. Nobody's really, oh yeah, so we decided to give this person a name, but they're basically background of Koyaki. Most everyone has an arc and goals.
Yeah, that's right.
It's pretty impressive for an hour and 45 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so what is the story then?
Okay, how much can we say without spoiling the plot for everyone?
This is tricky.
It's
tricky.
very character driven.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And it's kind of how it's a little bit kind of Monte Cristo spiraling of not the show, the book.
The
function of the
That's what I was
story.
thinking.
Yeah, so it's reminiscent of the Count of Monte Cristo book, not the Takarazuka show or the film, but the book, which is very much someone who's gone through quite a lot and has legitimate issues and decides to work out those issues in the worst way possible.
That's a pretty accurate description of the plot here. Okay, well, what I have to say is that, like, there is a plot blurb in English as well on the program, and the first time I read it, I thought, oh, wow, they just gave away the final plot twist because we all know how this is going to end. And boy, I was so wrong, because like that was what they give away in the program, in the plot blurb, is just like the premise for the final plot twist. What happens is that we want to talk about like the general environment, the setting of the show, because yeah, well, you can see it from the promo images, but it's set in an imaginary desert country. It's called Ispan. And the story revolves around the princess of this kingdom, played by Kanotan, and her personal slave, who's played by Mirio. The princess is called Tal Harmine, and the slave is called Gi. And yeah, as Kitty said, they're both like it's a very character-driven story, so they're the main focus as well, but that doesn't mean that other characters do not get their arcs. And what I really like about this is like how well these two characters are depicted in all their like flaws, because they're extremely flawed people, but great, like marvelously built characters. And they're both extremely proud and selfish people in the end. And that's what sets in motion the events of the story, I believe. I'm still trying to work out how not to give away too much.
But you see the characters as children, and they are different people as children, obviously, because you grow into a different adult, like the adult you grow into is a different person from the teenager you once were, or the child you once were, and that's the same as in Hoshiai. Like you see the children, and then you see the grown-ups that they grow into, and you can definitely see how their character traits develop. So you see that there's a continuity between the way the people they are as children and the people they are as they grow older. And you also see the changes in them, and you understand why they change the way they do. And all of their choices to me seem very justified in one way or another. Like emotionally, like it might not be the best choice, but I can see why they are in an emotional place.
Yeah,
exactly.
That they would make that choice.
Unlike some Takarazuka shows where things sometimes seem to happen just so that the next plot bit can happen. Almost everything that happens in Konjiki seems to be something that, even if they're, terrible things to do, they seem to be a decision that an actual human might make in that situation, which is a terrible situation.
Yeah, what I really like about seeing them, this character, from like children to like 20-year-old-ish to several years later, is that you can see their struggle all spread across this time lapse. And you feel like you really understand why this character is making these choices, which may be horrible choices, of course. Like some of the actions made by this character are like extremely bad ones. But at the same time, you understand why this character would feel that way.
I think the people who end up the most successful, so to speak, at the end of the play are the people who didn't make the passionate choice. They're the people who made the more, I don't want to say the more adult choice, but like the more mature choice, where they've had their reaction, and then they've gone and they've thought about it, and they're like, okay, well, this is the most logical choice. This is the best choice for the future. So this is the choice I'm going to make. And one of my favorite characters is a character that's just really, he's a joy, and just,
although what you could say is that none of the characters get exactly a happy ending. Like the ending is a bit of an open end in a way, but it's still bittersweet when like in however way you look at it. So that's also something I like. Even like the guilty one suffers, but so do the innocents, because the actions of these people influenced everyone so greatly. So yeah, and that like play is called Tragedy Arabesque. So you could like guess by the beginning that exactly. But yeah, tragedy is still a tragedy, but it's so extremely well built.
Yeah. One character who I actually found like really interesting is Yuzukare's character, who is one of the most major characters who is not from that situation, who's not from Isfahan or is not part of the royal family. So having someone from another environment come in and is trying to deal with it is very interesting, and it actually provides a catalyst. But like if you've seen her program pic where she's all sparkly, smiling,
Literal Prince Charming.
yeah. Bad situations are bad for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, she plays a suitor because like Talahamine, Kano-chan's character, is a princess, and so she has to marry to like inherit the kingdom and all that. And Dei-chan's character is her suitor, and and the thing is, like, he's suitor. Very sparkly Prince Charming. And the thing is, like, he coming from outside this kingdom, he is kind of an element of disruption because, like, he doesn't know the users of this country. He questions how they do things there, and he of course has his own goals and all that. So yeah, I really appreciate that, like, kind of element of disruption that this, like. There are 3 suitors actually, but like especially Dei-chan's characters, of course, bring.
So I just wanted to mention that my favorite character is played by Michiru Tenma, and I do not remember the name of the character, which is
Golas.
Golas, okay. And he's also one of the suitors, but he's a suiter for a different sister, and he's such a joy.
Yeah,
because he's just like
he's
so sweet.
Yeah, like in his scene, like in this main. Like in his biggest scene, I guess, he's just talking about like how, I'm not really into hunting. I like to raise birds. And, I like to feed them. And I'm having a good time. And he's like, you are the cutest little thing.
He's the actual cinema role of the story.
Oh my god.
So let's point it out. There's Talahamine, who is a princess, but she also has 2 sisters who are played by Osaki Ayaka and Otokurisu, and they both have their own suitors. And so yeah, like the main premises is that these 3 princesses need to marry and all that, and they all have their personal slaves. And Mirio plays Gi, who's the slave of Princess Talahamine, and then Serikato Kiki plays the slave of the second princess. And they're basically the main focus of the story.
The Sena Ayase plays the queen. And Hozuki-an plays the king, who is the father of
all 3 princesses.
But the queen is not the mother of the princess.
She is the mother of the 2 younger princesses, but Talahamine has a different mother.
Okay.
That we're already going into spoiler territory, but that's not much of a spoiler. I mean,
that's just for understanding.
Yeah, that's just world building.
Okay. Right. So let's move on. Let's move on to the outfits because I know that you have lots of opinions, Kitty.
Yes. Okay. First off, I have to point out because this is always very delightful to me when shows with a certain vibe use certain costumes. There is at least one costume from El Halcon in this show. I believe Hana no Julia wears it, and she is a stabby bandit. So just excellent. But one thing that kind of impressed me about this show is that so much of the cast is wearing completely white outfits, but they still manage to look very high quality and really distinct. Because white outfits are easy to start looking cheap. Like, really, really easy to make them start looking cheap. And they don't really wear all white a lot, but, like, they made all of the Konjiki and Sabaku costumes are really, really good. And I think there isn't actually that much reusing, but I feel like maybe one of Kano-chan's dresses is reused, but I'm not certain. But, the detail level on this show is really, really impressive, and everyone is very, 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 very sparkly, except after they've just been,
Although if I have to say one, I'm not really strong on like costumes and all that, so I can't comment on much. But if I have to like find one complaint in just one, there are several scenes in which Mirio and all the characters are in the desert and they're wearing black costumes. Now I don't know if you know that, but black attracts
some
the heat, solar heat. So whose idea was that to make them wear black in the full desert? They're going to die.
Like some like that is a thing that is sometimes done in the actual Middle East, but it's not.
But not in black.
No, it is.
But there is
black
also...
or very dark blue is sometimes done, but not those style of
in
costumes.
full desert.
Yeah,
But it's also very...
It makes sense for the plot and for the visual. It
it's
really,
more of an expression.
yeah, I
of
mean,
the
it's really like it really makes an impression, and it looks really, it's powerful as an image. But I can't help but think about that. I mean, it is good. Like, it's like it really makes an impression to see her come back in those black robes, and which looks really good, by the way. But yeah, I can't.
Through this entire thing, she just looks amazing. Like when I saw one of the first promo pictures, which was like a scene where Kano-chan is like in bed, and then Mirio is sleeping on the floor next to the bed, and like Mirio's just lying down, and she still looks freaking gorgeous. I'm like, how do you do that? How? How? I don't understand. So she just looks gorgeous throughout this entire show. There is not a single moment when Mirio is just not perfection. So, hey. Sorry, that's escalated quickly. Okay.
It's not like we're disagreeing anyway.
Anyway, so I also wanted to talk a little bit about the finale. And my main point that I wanted to mention is that Kiki looks fantastic in her blue outfit, and for the parade, the blue outfit turns even darker blue, and there's so many like sparkles and studs on it. She looks like a glittery, sparkly sky. Kiki heaven.
With all the white feathers to make it as well. Floating on a cloud of white feathers.
Yes.
That's basically Kiki.
Yeah.
Actual pure angel.
Prince Kiki or something like that.
Yes. Hey. And the otokoyaku dance is really amazing. It's really cool looking, because they are standing in a V on the steps, and they're doing many dance moves, and they're doing like hip swerving and stuff on the it's really cool.
I can't remember the name of the choreographer for that dance, but he is the same guy who did the Takarazuka, the Fantasia otokoyaku dance. Kuroemi.
I was like,
I can't remember the name right now, but it's the same person.
Nice.
Okay, and I also wanted, so the first time I saw this show, because Mirio, after dancing with everyone, she goes up onto the ginkyo, and then she dances in front of them, and they're like dancing in the back. And the first time I watched this show, I was looking at her through my binoculars, like my opera glasses, going like, oh my god, Mirio is a real person. She's not like a robot or anything. She's actually real. She exists. It's amazing. And there was this moment when she was, I think she was like turning around or something, and it was just like a split second, but she had like this massive, huge grin on her face. That she's not supposed to have that massive, huge grin on her face, because she didn't have it any of the other times I saw the show. But like that one time, she just had this huge grin on her face, and it was as though, you know, I could really see that she loves her job. She loves Takarazuka. She loves dancing. She loves being up there with, like, you know, her troupe dancing with her, and just, it was such a glorious moment, and it made me so happy, because I love it when I can see that they love their job. So that made me so happy. And I just felt like I really wanted to mention that, because my media feels are just all over the place. Hey,
can completely understand the feeling.
And then she turns into this glittery sheet in the parade.
Glittery purple
sheet. Sparkly.
It was like she's just made out of sparkles. Like there's not an inch of her that's not covered in sparkles. Like it's so shiny. It's glorious. Yeah, I think this is also one of those things that if I had gotten them when I was like 12 or 13, I would have worn that to school. You know, because I loved sparkles when I was younger. I'm more earth tones now, you know, but like at the time, sparkles. Hey. Any other comments about the finale?
The finale.
I liked because the very end of the show is set up in such a way that they can't do this standard thing where the Nibante comes out and does the theme song. Yeah. So instead they have a little boy band. They're Otokoyaku, and I just really loved that. Yes. It's really cute.
It's Yuzukare, Seto Akira, and Hozuki-an, and Minami Maito. All four coming out. Yeah, all four coming out and singing the theme song.
Yeah. So like, if you're sitting there with your opera glasses, you kind of go like, you kind of like go between them all, going like, oh no,
which way am I supposed to look?
Yeah. I'm very torn. I don't know who I'm supposed to be looking at. Yeah, sorry.
About the finale, we could talk about the duet dance, which I love very much. It's so very sweet.
Yeah.
It's something different from usual duet dances that I've seen. The main thing being that as it's a Taidan duet dance, they're both Mirio and Kano-chan are dressed in white, and that's already like a critical hit in the fields. Yes. Because, thank you for reminding me. But it's so very sweet. The melodies of the love duet of the two characters. And it's really sweet because it's not like anything too passionate or too like, you know, sticky or anything like that. It's very sweet and simple and cute and all that. And the end of the the way it ends, I think I can spoil this. It's not too much. It basically ends with both of them climbing the staircase and just, I don't know, walking towards...
It's a beautiful shot.
It's a beautiful shot. Like they're almost like playing and teasing each other in a very playful way, and they finish by like walking up towards the end of the staircase with the light going down, and it's so very sweet.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning is that Kano-chan was wearing pants.
Oh yeah, she is. That's right.
Not like full pants, but like
they're
kind of a harem outfit, which I know it is not a harem outfit, and that's kind of insulting to say, but that's the style.
But it looks really good.
Yes,
it
looks very
so good,
very pretty.
I actually would like to talk a bit about Mirio Goof. Because, so this show is very difficult, isn't it? Quite dangerous as well, because there are lots of sets that are turning, and there are many
stairs.
Yeah, many staircases where there are no railings.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes they are moving.
Yeah, and you know it
must be very scary to walk on.
You feel a bit scared for them as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But so, Kitty, the first time.
Yeah, so the first time I watched it was, I believe, the first Sunday the show was on, and so that was like very early in the run. I think like maybe 5 days in or so, but it was really good. Like everything went fine through the entire show, but then the finale hair dance starts on the stairs, and so Mirio is supposed to like get up, and they're doing some things, and then she slips on the stairs, and the entire audience gasped in panic. But she did not fall down the stairs. She slipped like,
for which we are forever grateful.
1.5 steps and caught herself. So yes, she was fine.
Yeah.
There have been
Everything went smoothly.
Thank God. There have been quite a few slips that I've heard. Nothing that I've seen personally, but I've heard tales of the dreaded Shonichi thing, and apparently during the beginning of the finale, when all the four main otakuyaku come out to sing, Dayton starts singing, and she's standing on the stairs that go from the Silver Bridge to the audience, and apparently she slipped as she was singing. And of course the show must go on, so everyone else kept going, and then the poor thing had to like get up and keep going. And I guess those are things that happen. But yeah, the show must go on. So.
Yeah, real pros make it work.
Yeah.
And on that note, I actually do have 2 stories to tell, which is the first time I went to watch this show, Meteor drops her fan. And at first I thought that she might have done it, like that it was on purpose, because she very coolly, just because she was doing a kind of thing where she was kneeling down a little bit, and she just very casually picked it up again. So I thought, did she do that on purpose, or was it like a mistake? Like, did she drop it? And then she dropped it again later on, but that was intentional.
Yep.
And then she sweeps it behind her so that someone else will come and pick it up and like get rid of it, like, can it get it off the stage. And so I was like, okay, maybe it was on purpose, you know. Since, but then the second time I went to see the show, she did not drop the fan. So I was like, oh. But, you know, like, absolute pro that she is, she just made it look as though, you know, that was totally intentional. Like,
yeah,
you guys.
Kind of thing that, like, if like somebody only seeing that show that day probably would believe it was on purpose.
Yeah, definitely. Then the second time I went, they were actually filming in the Grand Theatre, and so I was very aware of the fact that I was having a cold and I didn't want to cough or, you know, sneeze or anything. So I was just like, you know, and clapping very ardently in the right, in the right spots at the right times. And on recording day, in the bird scene, so Kare, she is like top burb. And dancing around with people until Mirio enters the stage and is a tiger burb. And then she, like, you know,
Tiger burb.
Yes, that's exactly what she is. And then there is a bit when they're walking up staircases and stuff, and when they're on their way back down the staircases again, Mirio on recording day like slips in the staircase, like it's just like a second, and she catches herself again. It's just like, it's recording day. Don't fall and die. Like, please, don't fall and die. I love you. Don't fall and die.
Yeah.
It's just,
and those are quite. Like, those stairs were scary because
definitely.
Since they go around, and there's like outcroppings, they really look quite scary to fall on. Like, if you fell on the grand stairs, you probably would not hit your head.
Ouch.
If you fell on those stairs, that would be bad.
Yes. Also because they're pretty much open. There's no way to hold. There's nothing to hold on to. So like.
Yeah. But everyone lives. So yeah, just before we want to move on, I wanted to mention my new, very small Hanagumi favorite, who is a very, very wee baby musume yaku called Mai Sora Hitomi. And she's hardly been in anything because she's like a kinwan.
Yeah.
She's a very small baby, but she was in Kare's photo book, so you might have seen her there. And she has like 2 lines in a Honkoen show, and it's amazing. She plays the very small version of
Bei-chan's character.
Yes.
Yeah, she plays Bei-chan's character as a child.
She's very small.
Yeah, and sadly she couldn't get a role in the Shinko because of Japanese labor laws, because like she couldn't work overtime to play for the Shinko. But yeah, she got a pretty good deal in the Honkoen for a Ken 1 girl. So
Very nice. Very nice. So well done, Mai Sora Hitomi.
Yay.
And so the final point here on my little list of things to talk about is Shinko screaming. So,
oh my god.
Garnet, dozo,
Here
go for
is
it.
where I lose it. Alright, so I went to see the Shinko. It was 2 weeks ago, I believe. And let's start with like the title roles, or like the main roles. Lead went to Ayaki Hikari, and lead Musume Yaku went to Shiroki Mirei, and I believe it's the 3rd or 4th even, maybe 4th, Shinko lead for Shiroki Mirei, while the 2nd or like 1.5 for Ayaki because she got half of me and my girl last time, and that's a really great result because she's a 97. She's from 97th class. So and they're both actually from the 97th class. And other honorable mention goes to my personal bias, Aren Toma, who got to play Nibante. She's from the 99th class, and she got to play Kiki's role, Nibante. Other major roles, although Kiki's role is Nibante, but other major Tokuyaku roles are really major. All of those are really substantial roles. So all the girls who got to play one of those roles really got a great deal out of it. What else? So the main roles were the king of the country, who was played by Hozuki, and in the Honko, and was played by Hiryu Tsukasa. Akira, Seto Kazuya's role, who was another slave, was played by Seino Asuka. And what was that? Oh, and Dei-chan's role, the prince, was played by Hozumi Mahiro. Okay, so in general, I have to say it was like a really, really high quality for a Shinko, unexpectedly good.
Yeah.
There were of course bits I liked and I liked less, but in general, everyone gave their 150%, 200% in that thing. And there were small happenings here and there, but I guess it's perfectly understandable given the girls were not given that much time to rehearse. Except for the lead roles, basically the whole troupe knew their roles something like 3 weeks before the Shinjin-koen date. So they had 3 whole weeks to rehearse. So that must have been hard on them, and I applaud them very much for all the effort that they put in it, because it was really, really good. There were some slips here and there, people falling or bumping into each other, few people forgetting or getting a line wrong, but overall it was an incredible quality for a Shinko.
They didn't put the finale on, did they?
No.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. But given the show is only 1 hour 45 minutes, I think nothing got cut.
Yeah.
I think they just basically did the whole thing, which was very good because everyone got to explore their role very, very, very well. Also, one thing that happened in Shinko only is that in the real Honkoen, Mirio and Kano-chan played their characters as children as well. While in the Shinko, given there are not that many roles, the roles were split, so there were 2 different actresses playing the characters as children, and they were respectively Otokurisu playing the princess Tahamine, and Hana Yuki, who is a musume yaku, playing Gi, the slave, Mirio's character. And I have to applaud them both, because Otokurisu is, I already knew she was an amazing actress, and she really sold that part. But Hana Yuki, being a musume yaku, she did a pretty solid job. I don't know if she ever played otoku-yaku before, or ko-yaku, kodomo-yaku before, but she was impressively good. I'm looking forward to the Tokyo Shinjin-koen.
Awesome. So, in conclusion, what I would say is, if you have the opportunity, go see this show. Get other people to come see this show. It's an amazing show. If you're introducing new fans to Zuka, you can be like, oh, this is a really Japanese experience. Come see it, And yes, it's amazing.
Just go see this show already.
It's so glorious. So I would like to thank Kitty and especially Garnet for joining in on this podcast today. And thank you to all the listeners for listening to our rambling, and we hope you enjoyed it. And also a huge thank you to the Arcanum String Quartet for their wonderful arrangement of Sumire no Hana Sakukoro. Okay, bye!
Bye everyone!
Okay, so it's in the intermission now, and we've just watched Sekkasho, and it was way too short. I swear, it gets shorter and shorter. Like, I just want more and more of it. And I feel that I failed to adequately describe just how many chills the music in this show gives me. Like, it's so gorgeous.
I think I talked a lot about the finale and the chills that it gives me every time it starts, but no, I realized I did not talk nearly enough about it. I could go on and on about this number, about this whole show, and you realize every single time you watch it, it's all you leave the experience as if it was the first time all over again. It's so good.
They're amazing with their fans. They're kampeki gumi, subarashi gumi.
Yes, that's my truth.
Yes.
I'm not talking because I don't want to cry, okay? It's not
It's so gorgeous.
Oh. The one at the end, right before the very end, is just...
I know, right? So, get this very fresh reaction and decide for yourself if you think it's worth watching. But seriously, if you have a chance, 100% recommended.
It's so worth it. I can't even.
Yeah.
Hey, that is all. We just needed to flail a little bit and just... Yes. So, I think that is all. We just needed... I just needed a bit of a scream.
I think that's a good note to close on.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.